I buried banana peels under my peach, plum, and cherry trees every single week for 6 months. And what I found when I finally dug back into that soil completely changed how I think about fruit tree nutrition forever. And honestly, most growers are doing this one thing so wrong that they're starving their trees without even realizing it. Before I show you exactly what happened underground, if you're serious about growing bigger, sweeter peaches, plums, and cherries with real, practical, experience-based techniques every single week, then you need to hit that subscribe button right now, because I share things on this channel that took me years of trial, error, and dead trees to figure out. And I don't want you making the same expensive mistakes I made when I was starting out. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the entire 6-month banana peel experiment, from the very first week I buried those peels under my trees, all the way to the moment I pulled back the mulch and saw what the roots looked like underneath. You're going to learn exactly why this simple kitchen scrap can transform your orchard, the science behind why it works so well on stone fruit trees specifically, and the professional step-by-step method commercial growers actually use so you don't waste your banana peels doing it the wrong way like most backyard growers do. Let's talk about the real problem first, because this is where almost everyone goes wrong before they even get to the banana peel part. Most people who grow peach, plum, and cherry trees think that as long as they water regularly and throw down a bag of all-purpose fertilizer once or twice a year, their trees are getting everything they need. But stone fruit trees are heavy feeders, especially when it comes to potassium. And potassium is the one nutrient that most generic fertilizers are seriously lacking in. I've walked through dozens of backyard orchards over the years, and the pattern is always the same. Trees that look healthy and leafy on the outside, but when the fruit comes in, it's small, it drops early, it cracks, or it tastes watery instead of sweet. That's not a watering problem. That's not even always a disease problem. 9 times out of 10, that's a potassium deficiency, and it's happening quietly underground while the leaves are busy tricking you into thinking everything is fine. Here's the mistake almost every new grower makes. And I made it too when I first started planting stone fruit. We focus so much on nitrogen, because nitrogen gives us that instant gratification of dark green, fast-growing foliage. It feels like progress. You see the tree pushing out new growth and you think, great, my fertilizer is working. But nitrogen without enough potassium is actually a trap. The tree puts all its energy into leaves and soft wood growth, and it doesn't have the mineral reserves it needs to properly size up fruit, harden off for winter, or resist stress during heat waves and dry spells. So you end up with a tree that looks impressive in June, but disappoints you completely by August when harvest time comes and the peaches are the size of golf balls. Now let's get into the actual reasoning behind why banana peels specifically fix this problem, and I'll keep this simple because you don't need a degree in soil chemistry to understand it. Banana peels are naturally loaded with potassium, along with smaller but still useful amounts of phosphorus, calcium, magnesium, and micronutrients like manganese. Potassium is often called the quality nutrient in fruit trees because it directly controls how efficiently the tree moves sugars from the leaves into the developing fruit. Think of potassium as the traffic controller inside the tree. Nitrogen builds the roads, but potassium directs the actual traffic of sugars and water where they need to go. Without enough potassium, sugars get produced in the leaves through photosynthesis, but they struggle to get transported efficiently into the fruit, which is exactly why you end up with fruit that looks fine on the outside but tastes bland or stays small, no matter how much you water and feed the tree with regular fertilizer. When you bury a banana peel in the soil instead of just tossing it on top as mulch, something important happens. Buried peels break down faster because they're in direct contact with soil moisture and the microbial life that's actually doing the decomposition work. Soil bacteria and fungi go to work breaking down that peel, and as they do, they release the potassium and other minerals in a slow, steady form that the tree's fine feeder roots can actually absorb. This is completely different from dumping a synthetic potassium fertilizer on top of the soil, which can leach away quickly with heavy watering or rain. The slow release from decomposing organic matter like banana peels feeds the tree gradually over weeks, which matches exactly how a tree actually wants to receive its nutrition: steady and consistent, not a sudden spike followed by nothing. So here's exactly what I did, and this is the same method I'd recommend to anyone who wants to try this properly instead of just guessing. Step 1. I chose 3 trees to focus this experiment on: 1 peach, 1 plum, and 1 cherry, all roughly the same age and size so I could compare results fairly. I made sure none of these trees were newly planted, because young trees with underdeveloped root systems don't need this level of feeding yet, and overdoing it can actually stress them. Step 2. Once a week, I dug a shallow trench about 6 to 8 inches away from the trunk, following the general drip line of the tree where the feeder roots are most active, not right up against the trunk where it can cause rot issues. The trench was only about 4 to 6 inches deep, just enough to bury the peel without disturbing the deeper structural roots. Step 3. I chopped each banana peel into smaller pieces before burying it, because smaller pieces break down significantly faster than tossing in a whole peel, and faster breakdown means the tree gets access to those nutrients sooner rather than waiting months for a whole peel to decompose. Step 4. I covered the buried peel with soil completely, then added a light layer of mulch on top, which helped retain moisture around the decomposing peel and also discouraged pests and rodents from digging it up. Because trust me, if you leave banana peels exposed or shallow, you will attract animals looking for an easy snack. Step 5. I rotated the burial spot around the tree each week instead of digging in the exact same location, which spread the nutrient release evenly through the root zone instead of concentrating it in just one section of soil, giving the whole root system access to the benefits over time. Now let me walk you through what this actually looks like in the orchard, because reading about burying banana peels is one thing, but seeing what to look for in real life makes a massive difference. When you're choosing your burial spot, look at where the canopy of the tree ends and imagine a circle directly below that edge. That's your drip line, and that's where the majority of active feeder roots are located, not right at the trunk like a lot of people mistakenly assume. If you dig right next to the trunk, you're wasting your effort because those roots are older, thicker, and less involved in nutrient absorption. When I dug my trenches, I made sure to feel for smaller white or light tan feeder roots near the surface, and if I hit those roots while digging, I knew I was in the right zone. After burying the peels for a few weeks, I started noticing the soil texture itself changing in that area, becoming darker and slightly crumblier, which is a visual sign that organic matter is breaking down and improving the soil structure, something that takes ordinary compacted orchard soil and turns it into something closer to rich, living soil that holds moisture better and supports beneficial microbial life. I want you to think about something for a second and actually comment your answer below, because I'm curious how many of you have made this mistake before. Have you ever fertilized your peach, plum, or cherry trees heavily with nitrogen, seen beautiful green growth, and then been disappointed when the fruit itself turned out small or bland tasting? If that's happened to you, comment the word golf ball below, because that's exactly the size complaint I hear most often from growers who are unknowingly dealing with a potassium shortage instead of a general fertility problem, and I want to see how many of you have experienced this exact same frustration. Now, 6 months into this experiment, here's what I actually found when I carefully dug around the root zones of all 3 trees. The soil around the peach tree had visibly more earthworm activity than the untreated comparison tree I left alone as a control. And earthworms are one of the best indicators of healthy, nutrient-rich soil because they're attracted to decomposing organic matter, and they also help aerate the soil further as they move through it. The feeder root mass around all 3 trees, but especially the plum tree, was noticeably denser and more branched compared to the control tree, which makes complete sense because when a tree senses more available nutrients in a localized area of soil, it responds by growing more fine roots into that zone to take advantage of it. The cherry tree, which had been the weakest performer in previous seasons, actually showed the most dramatic difference in fruit set the following spring, with noticeably fewer dropped immature cherries compared to previous years, which lines up perfectly with what we know about potassium's role in reducing fruit drop and improving overall fruit retention through the stress of the growing season. Let's talk about what professional and commercial growers actually do, because home growers often either massively underfeed or completely overdo potassium applications, and there's a smarter middle ground that the pros use. Commercial orchard managers don't rely on random kitchen scraps alone, obviously, since they're managing hundreds or thousands of trees. But the principle they follow is exactly the same one this banana peel method demonstrates on a small scale: slow, steady, localized potassium release timed to match the tree's actual growth stages. Professional growers typically increase potassium availability specifically during two critical windows: right after fruit set, when the fruit is beginning its sizing phase, and again in late summer when the tree is building up reserves for next year's flower buds and preparing for dormancy. If you're doing something like this banana peel method at home, timing your heaviest applications around these two windows, rather than spreading it evenly and thoughtlessly throughout the entire year, will give you noticeably better results because you're supporting the tree exactly when it needs that mineral support the most, instead of just feeding on a fixed schedule regardless of the tree's actual growth stage. Now here's the golden tip that most growers, even some experienced ones, completely overlook, and this one single adjustment made a bigger difference in my results than almost anything else I did during this entire experiment. Instead of just burying whole or chopped banana peels straight into the soil, try soaking your banana peels in a bucket of water for about a week before burying them, essentially creating a simple banana peel tea. As the peels soak, the water pulls out a significant portion of the potassium and other minerals into a liquid form that becomes immediately available to the tree the moment you pour it around the root zone, while the leftover soaked peel solids can still be buried afterward for that slower, longer-term breakdown benefit. This gives you a powerful combination of a fast-acting liquid feed alongside the traditional slow-release solid method, essentially doubling your results from the exact same banana peels you were already using, and it's something almost nobody talks about because most people think burying is the only way to use banana peels effectively, when actually combining both methods together is where the real magic happens. Before we wrap up, let's go over some common mistakes you absolutely need to avoid if you're going to try this method yourself, because doing this incorrectly can actually create more problems than it solves. The first mistake is burying peels too close to the trunk, which can trap excess moisture right against the bark and create conditions for crown rot or fungal disease, so always stay out toward the drip line instead. The second mistake is burying too many peels in one concentrated spot without rotating locations, which can actually create a temporary imbalance in that specific area of soil and attract too much fungal or bacterial activity concentrated in one small zone rather than spreading the benefit evenly. The third mistake is doing this method on trees that already have excellent soil test results showing sufficient potassium levels, because more isn't always better, and overloading potassium can actually interfere with the tree's ability to take up other important nutrients like magnesium, creating a new deficiency while trying to solve one that didn't even exist in the first place. And the fourth mistake, which I made myself in my very first attempt years ago, is leaving banana peels exposed on the surface instead of properly burying them, which just invites rodents, raccoons, and other pests to dig around your root zone, potentially damaging those delicate feeder roots you're actually trying to protect and nourish in the process. If there's one thing I want you to take away from everything I've shown you in this video, it's that growing exceptional peaches, plums, and cherries isn't about expensive fertilizers or complicated schedules. It's about understanding what your trees actually need at each stage and giving it to them in a form they can genuinely use. And sometimes the most powerful tools are sitting right there in your kitchen trash bin every single day. 6 months of consistently burying banana peels transformed the soil health, root density, and fruit quality on trees that I've been managing for years, and if a simple kitchen scrap can make that kind of measurable difference, imagine what else you might be overlooking in your own orchard right now. If this video helped you see your fruit trees a little differently today, do me a favor and make sure you're subscribed to this channel, because every single week I'm out here testing these real, practical methods on my own trees, so you don't have to waste seasons guessing what actually works. And I want you standing right here with me as we keep figuring this out together, one orchard experiment at a time. In the next video, I'm going to show you exactly what happened when I tried a completely different approach on my cherry trees using coffee grounds instead, and whether that method actually outperformed the banana peel results you just saw today. So stay close, because you will not want to miss what happened with that comparison.